Already 5% of national incomes go to NATO. The European Union is taking out huge loans to buy weapons. If you purchase something on credit, it has to pay off. How does a weapon pay off if you use it? So we are in an extremely dangerous arms race spiral. A foreign power, the United Kingdom, has been paying familiar faces in Slovakia to assist in dragging the country down. Let's not allow the scandal surrounding British funding of election campaigns to be swept under the rug. I could not ignore the circus staged by the anti-government and anti-Slovak media, who are throwing themselves in front of progressive Slovakia to protect it at all costs. These media outlets are trying to shield obedient Slovakia from the consequences of a horrifying truth, that a foreign power, the United Kingdom, has been paying familiar faces in Slovakia to assist in dragging the country down ahead of the September elections. Miserak 23, Until Freedom, Dennik N, Shorosh, Nevsky, Simchek, Actuality, and, unfortunately, even other electronic media have been complicit in covering up this scandal. Their involvement has been so alarming that we have every right to feel that this affair affects them more than it does obedient Slovakia itself. The Democrats, who want to imprison anyone holding a different view on the war in Ukraine and Russia after the election, are now introducing the concept of deep plowing. This is nothing more than a call for greater consistency in eliminating the current representatives of the ruling coalition. Dear friends, let's not allow the scandal surrounding British funding of election campaigns to be swept under the rug. Meanwhile, progressive Slovakia falsely claims that the government coalition plans to raise VAT to 25%. They fabricated this claim without any evidence, as this option has never even been discussed within the coalition. The media, without any verification, are gleefully spreading this lie because it suits their narrative. They are deliberately distracting from the British scandal involving public finances devastated by Igor Matovic, Edward Higa, and from the economic miracle of a compliant Slovakia, which we must continue to stabilize despite external pressures. Dear friends, the European Commission has positively assessed the content of the draft agreement between the governments of the Slovak Republic and the United States of America on cooperation in the field of nuclear energy. We will act shortly, and nothing will stop us. We will proceed to sign this agreement, which is a prerequisite for concluding another specific intergovernmental agreement concerning the construction of a new nuclear unit at Jaslovsky Bohunice. This unit will have a capacity of 1,250 megawatt-hours and will be built by the U.S. company Westinghouse. It will be 100% owned by the Slovak Republic and could become the foundation of a new state-owned energy company, Slovensk Elektron. Of course, from an international law perspective, the Russians are not right. From the point of view of international law, the Ukrainians are right. But from the perspective of the balance of power, it's clear what the Russians are doing. They have also said it. They are going to create a buffer zone, if not of the whole of Ukraine, then of that part of Ukraine which is close to Russia. They will occupy precisely as much territory as needed so that it is no longer possible to shoot into Russian territory. Already 5% of national incomes go to NATO. The European Union is taking out huge loans to buy weapons. If you purchase something on credit, it has to pay off. How does a weapon pay off if you use it? So we are in an extremely dangerous arms race spiral. This must be stopped. It can only be stopped with arms control agreements. Therefore, the West must come to an agreement with the Russians on the largest types of weaponry, how much each side operates. They need to agree on the armaments. They must also come to an agreement on the world's energy supply. Because the sanctions system, which excludes the Russians from energy trade, might be good for the Americans, who enter and sell their oil and gas at much higher prices, but in the long run, this will destroy the global economy. An agreement is needed here as well. There must be an agreement regarding the sanctions against the Russians. Can foreign capital enter Russia? Can we invest there? Into which sectors? Can Russia enter the economies of other countries? It cannot? All these questions need to be resolved. This cannot be settled through bilateral military negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. If these issues are not resolved, the war will not be resolved either. The two leaders need to agree with each other on a comprehensive, large package, and then there will be peace. I do not consider this to be without chance. We are currently in a phase of threats. But well, it's like a marriage. In the end, we just stay together, right? The starting point is that the Russians will come and occupy. It's an unrealistic assumption, and we should not base our political actions on it, because only wrong political decisions can result from unrealistic premises. I believe the Russians are not in a state or position to pose a threat to Europe today. Since NATO exists, no NATO member state has ever been attacked. And I don't think they ever will be, because there is no sane person who would take the risk of going to war with all NATO member states, including the United States and Turkey, at the same time. There is no such person. Therefore, I think, although history has its dark chapters, the Baltics and Poles should believe that NATO's guarantee is an actual guarantee.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.